Hello, hopefully the microphone is right, everything's okay. We're back. It's been a while since we've done this. We had a bit of a holiday. Nothing's been coming out of the club, has it? It's been completely silent, so we've been waiting for something to happen, and of course it has happened. Critchley's back. How do we all feel about that? I'm going to kind of tell you my feelings and then we can go through the comments. I'm not going to have a phone in tonight because I don't want all the chaos of it. I just want to hear what you think. I've been reading a lot on A View from the Tower. If you don't know what A View from the Tower is, it's a Blackpool fan website, avftt.co.uk, and that is where you get all the sort of gossip and arguments and everything else going on. And it's a mixed bag on there. For me, I wanted Dobby. I think everybody wanted Dobby. I think, the fans were behind him. I was in the North Stand for the Millwall game, and it was just electric. It was incredible. The fans were so behind Dobby. Went to Norwich. I thought that was, a great performance, and he turned a team that was playing terribly into a really good attacking team. And, I would have given him the job, but I can understand why he didn't give him the job, for the simple reason that he'd only had 6 games, and that's probably, if Dobby had come in when Mick McCarthy came in and saved us, I think Dobby would have got the job. But I think 6 games, maybe not enough time to judge him. And also, did he have the contacts that Critch had? Because we all know that, Critch brought in some great players, didn't he? I'm thinking of Dujon Sterling, Gabriel, Dan Ballard, Ellis Sims. These kind of players that Critch brought in made a big difference. And I'm sure probably in part of Simon's mind was that, does Dobby have the contacts that Critch does? And I've criticised Critch, after he went. I was devastated. I'm sure you were all devastated as well. I was actually devastated because we had a sort of a vision, didn't we? Jane was always saying that he was always looking to improve himself, always looking to improve the team, always looking for ways to better himself. And we were going in like one direction. You felt like we were just going to keep going up and up and up until eventually, we got into the Premier League. And when he left, that sort of, that vision, that direction we were going in just died, and it was quite clear that, the players didn't really, take to Appleton. And they certainly didn't take to Mick McCarthy at all. They weren't playing for him. And one of the guys that goes, as a sponsor of the team, sponsors matches, was at the meeting, the evening with sponsors with the players. And every player that he asked on that night wanted Critch back. So the players want Critch back. So I can understand that as well. But there was things about Critch that I didn't like. I've said before that his substitutions were sometimes just way too late, and he was a bit hesitant. I thought Colin Calderwood made him better than he was, and we pass it around the back a lot. I don't want to go back to that passing it all around the back, but on the whole, when you look at what Critchley did, and got us into the Championship, he did really, really well for us. And I know he hasn't done very well since he left us. He was number 2 with Gerrard. I mean, can you blame him totally for Villa? Is it more Gerrard than Critch's fault? I don't know. But obviously QPR was a disaster. But the thing with disaster was that with QPR and the disaster there was that they weren't his team. They weren't his players. And I think if he comes back to Blackpool and he gets players in that he wants during the summer, and he has to get players in that he wants during the summer, we definitely have to strengthen. It's all right getting Critchley in, but if we don't strengthen, we're in trouble for me. So hopefully through pre-season and with the signings, we're going to feel a lot brighter about him. But I know a lot of fans are not happy about it. So let's just have a look at the comments quickly. I'll just go through what you said so far. It's not a phone in tonight, by the way. I'm just taking your comments. So Semi-Charm Live says, I am in favour of it. He's made up to see Critch return and think he'll do the job. Get behind him. Ian R says, oh no, not a third reappointment. Okay. Crazy Football Vlogs says, I would take this appointment, but we must back him. None of the snake calling. So we can't call him Snake. He was a snake, wasn't he? We have to back him. We have him now, so let's back him and support him and the team. Yeah, okay. But, we all felt gutted. I mean, I was gutted. Jane and I were on holiday in Grimsby. We sat outside this lovely bar. I just ordered this sort of like ice cream milkshake sort of thing, and we were waiting for, there's a band on that night, and we just sat there, and Jane went, oh gosh, important announcement from the club. And when he saw that Critch had gone to be number 2 with Gerrard at Aston Villa, it just really ruined the holiday, if I'm being honest. It really did. WG fan, though, in answer to Crazy Football Fox, says that's what we said about McCarthy, and look how that ended up. Well, yeah, exactly. It didn't end up well, but I thought McCarthy had done all right. But then looking back on it in hindsight, we lost too many tall players. You can't be a Mick McCarthy side and be little. But I think that's a problem with Blackpool. I think if we're recruiting, we need some bigger we need some taller players. 100% we do. We're so small. And with Medine, obviously gone, and is Marvin going to be fit enough? And we haven't really got any tall players. So I think that's quite important that we do get some bigger players in. Andy Ormer said, wish Dobby was number 2, though, but I don't think he wants to be number 2. I think he's got, I think that's it. He's gone back to be, coaching the development squad. So maybe. Ian R says, I can't see it working myself. Why, Ian? Why do you not see it working? Is that just because the fans are not going to like him, or is it because you just don't think Critchley's any good? Because I thought he was pretty good. South Shore Seasider says, evening all. Kieran Bates, it's good to hear from me. Thank you very much, Kieran. Good to hear from you too. Peter Donnelly's here, says, good evening, Lee. Hope it works out again with Critch. Well, I think we all do. We'd all like. It's going to be funny though, isn't it? It's like going back out with an ex that like Jill, that left you for another guy, and then like, she comes back. It's not an easy situation, isn't it? He's going to be checking a phone and stuff. Is he going to, is he going to stay with us? Is he going to stick with us? I mean, I've watched the interview with Simon Sadler, and I know he likes Critch. I get that, but I don't know. Right, Kelncor is not happy, so he's going to get him down. Well, if we do that, this is it. We can't do that, can we? At the end of the day, if Blackpool fans are divided again, as we were with Appleton, and we're not behind the manager, we're not prepared to back him, then it'll backfire in our faces, because we're the ones that make the difference for me. If we're loud, look what happened. We got behind Dobby, and look what happened. You know what I mean? It's once Blackpool fans get really behind a team, we can achieve miracles. But if we're divided and, on his back and not got, just the whole thing we will create a disaster, because without us, we are little Blackpool. I say it all the time. If we're not making loads of noise, we punch above our weight because we make loads of noise, we're fantastic, and we have to be fantastic. We have to kind of just, I don't know, we've just got to forget about the fact that he left without saying goodbye, and he left us and basically caused us to get relegated, if I'm being honest. That's how it feels to me. I feel if he'd have stayed with us, I don't think we'd have got relegated. And I don't think we'd have had the season that we did have. What does Jane think of the manager appointment? Says the Dalek. She's come around to it. She wanted Dobby. I think we all wanted Dobby. That's everybody so obviously wanted Dobby. But was he too much of a risk? Put yourself in the owner's shoes. He's never managed before. What contacts has he got? I don't know, but he was certainly getting the players playing better, wasn't he? Peter Griffith says, I think he deserves another chance, but he does need to start well, or the pressure will be on him early doors. Well, it will. And if he starts off the way he did, in COVID year, then it's going to be terrible, because I don't know if you remember that, we played pre-season, we were 3-0 up against Everton in like 10 minutes, and we all thought that we were going to be like romping the league, and we set off terribly, didn't we? We were, I don't know, I think, did we lose our first 6 or 7 games? I can't remember exactly now, but I remember, Jane and I were doing the watch-alongs, and our video tagline was, we watch it so you don't have to, because it was so bad. So if he starts off like that with fans there on his back, it's going to go wrong. Will Jerry Yates stay? Well, he's staying anyway, but will he stay? Dave Lewis says it's a good appointment. I think it is. I think it'd be a great appointment if we hadn't already had him, and he hadn't upset us all, and he hadn't, done the dirty on us, and he hadn't left and never said goodbye, and just left us in the mire, really, when the plan was there. I'm sure Simon Sadler, he gave him a 4.5-year deal because he could see that we were going in the right direction. You know, with Critch, there was a, you know, you could see it in front of you. You couldn't, you know, the way it was going to go, and you could only see it getting better and better and better. And when he left, all that just fell apart like a deck of cards, really. And it would be a good appointment if we'd nicked him from somewhere else and he'd never been a manager here, and you'd be saying, yeah, look what he's done. You know, disregard QPR, but if he'd left, say, I don't know, Barnsley or something, and he'd taken Barnsley up the season, we nicked him, you'd be thinking, yeah. But because there's been this hatred of him for a year. I mean, we really have hated him. I mean, I know when he was manager QPR, I was hoping he was going to be managing QPR when he came back, because he was going to get he would have got dogs abuse. I think he's quite brave to come back, if I'm being honest, because he must know the fans are so upset, and it really did break, you know, our hearts, I think. Ian R says this decision, as we all knew, has split the fan base yet again, but it's not got to, Ian. If it does, and we're not behind him, and we don't, you know, get behind him and the team, then it will fail. It will definitely fail. Denis Stoikov says, I'm not bothered about him not saying goodbye. No, I wasn't bothered about him saying goodbye. That didn't bother me. It was the fact he actually left just for like no bloody reason, you know, to go and be a number 2 with Gerrard. I know it's money at the end of the day, but, you know, I believed in him. I believed he had this vision. I believed he had this plan. I believed he was going to, you know, get on top of the academy, and he was going to bring lads through, and, you know, all this sort of stuff in my mind that I thought over the next 4 years. And Jane has always said he's always like, you know, he's writing stuff down, and he's trying to better himself, and he's analysing the teams. And all I could see with Critchley was him improving, you know, and improving the team, and improving and getting better and better and better. And from the minute he left, you just knew that dream had gone, and that's what upset me. More bothered about his continuous sideways and back passing around the defence style of football. Yeah, but it wasn't when we got, you know, if you remember the run that we went on to get into the Championship, it was a phenomenal run. It really was. We played some fabulous football. Once we got our act together, we started playing really, really well. So, but, you know, Ellis Sims was a big thing then, wasn't he? I mean, once Ellis Sims got in the groove, we were amazing. W&G fan says, after losing our best players, we're just going to be left about 12th, 13th in the table next season. Well, it all depends on who we get in. Which best players have we lost, by the way, are you thinking? Jerry Yates, obviously, but who's the other best players that we've lost? Struggling to think of any of them that would have kept, to be honest. I mean, obviously Bowler, but Bowler, when he came back, he didn't make any difference, did he? He didn't play all that well, so... Yes, Callum Cole says he better not pat the shirt. Well, we don't want fist pumping, do we? That's the one thing we don't want. We don't want him fist pumping. Hiya, Nick. All right. Enjoy the Championship next season. Well done to Ipswich for getting up. Daz BFC says, more to the point, who's number 2? We all know how Critch did without a decent number 2. Yes, indeed, we did. Well, that's not been announced yet. I doubt it'll be Colin Calderwood, but we all know that Colin Calderwood, I think, made a big difference. I really do. Dave Lewis says, I'm not sure. It might take a while, Lee, but the North will be his 12th man once again. Well, I hope so, because that's what we need, don't we? We need Blackpool fans in full voice. Ian Nelly says, what weight did the 50-page dossier attribute to his last 2 failures? Will it be back to the interminable sideways passing and timid substitutions? Well, we all know that's one of the things that irritated me, the timid substitutions. But if you remember, he changed the style, didn't he? Did we go from a 4-3-3 to a 4-4-2? I think we did, and that changed everything. He kind of looked at it, and he did actually make a decision, and he changed the way we played, and we got up, and we played amazing. I vaguely think he went back to a 4-4-2. Brownlow Jr. says, none of the fist pumps, not the right appointment, if I'm honest, but it's happened. There'll always be that what if when Gerrard gets back into management. Well, yeah, do you think... I mean, the thing is, he does say in his interview with Simon Sadler that hindsight is a wonderful thing. And obviously, if he'd have seen, you know, what was going to happen to him over the year, you know, if he could have known that, he wouldn't have done it. Well, now he has done it, and he has got hindsight, and he does know if he leaves, the grass is not always greener on the other side, and he'll know, you know, how he was idolised here and how he was almost like godlike, and could walk on water really with the fans. And then he's gone to Villa and they just had a terrible time. And he won't be getting the abuse for manager, but he won him in good times. And then QPR was an absolute disaster, whether it was all down to him or whether just there was a big problem at the club because the other manager who took over didn't do great, although he did turn it around at the end with the help of Burnley not being asked to play, of course. Yeah, I don't think he'll move quite so easily this time. I think he obviously wants to get back into it. His missus has probably said, "God, Neil, why did you leave and walk away from what you had?" Do you know what I mean? And how our life was like 2 years ago when you were a walking god in Blackpool and everybody actually adored you. And to what's happened, Neil. I'd like you to get back to being happy. I'm sure he was happy when he was here. You know what I mean? He's had a miserable year as we've had a miserable year. So I'm sure I don't think he will leave if Gerrard comes a call. And I don't think Gerrard would do it to him again as well because Gerrard must have felt terrible over it really as well because he's dragged him away from being an amazing manager with a fan base that just adored him to what he put him through. So I'm not sure that Gerrard will come back calling, to be honest. Daz BFC says fans are fickle. A few early wins and it would be like he never left. Lose first few and the vultures will be out. Well, exactly. So we've got to get off to a great start. I think there will always be this little bit of, they did the dirty on us. It's always going to be there. Which is why I am surprised that Simon Sadler once again went for an ex-manager. I was surprised. I mean, the thing is, if Simon Sadler had put Dobby in because we all wanted him in and Dobby didn't work out, then he could have basically stood up and said, well, you all wanted him, so I've done what you wanted. But he's done completely he hasn't done what we wanted, has he? He hasn't done what we wanted, which was to have done. I don't think I'd have wanted Wellens either, to be honest, either, if I'm being honest. How much abuse has Wellens got every time he comes back to bloody Blackpool? We hate him, don't we? He's another one we don't actually like. I don't know whether we'd like him being in as a manager, but I'm not a big fan of Wellens. Jane can never forgive Wellens for when we went down at Oldham. She'll never get over it. I wanted Wellens a Dobby, but I hope Critchley gets out of League One next season, so let's back him. We've got to back him, haven't we? I think that's the most important thing. Greg Nicholas also says, get behind Critchley. We've got to, haven't we? There's no use. We've got him. It's him. It doesn't matter how much we complain and moan and bitch and whine on message boards and all the rest of it. It is Critch. So we've just got to accept the fact that it's Critch and hope to God that, it's not one of those scenarios where they always say, never go back, don't they? People say, never go back. Ian Ali says, though, it's much better than some people mention. Dobby can take over if it doesn't work out. Well, yeah, he is there, isn't he? Yes, there we are. They always say never go back. It should have been Dobby all day long. After Critch left, he hasn't done much, has he? Well, he wasn't a manager at Villa, was he? So I can't attribute everything that happened at Villa to Critch. I can't, but it's part of it. And the QPR thing, like I say, it wasn't his team. He took over a team that was in a bit of a mess. It didn't really work out. They weren't playing very well. There was something wrong at QPR, and maybe that's the factor. I'm just trying to look at a positive, really, to be honest. He had a terrible. I think he won one game at QPR, didn't he? So God, but if he gets the players in that he wants in the summer, he gets the team playing like he wants in the summer, and we have a good pre-season. I'm hoping to God we have a good pre-season. I don't even know. It's not been announced yet, so I'm hoping we get some good players. In those molds of Dan Ballard, and if the loans are really good. And I'm sure the other thing about Critch is with him having such high coaching badges that Premier League teams will lend him good players because they know he can develop them and bring them on. I think that's another factor that Dobby hasn't got that sort of reputation, has he, of developing young kids on. So Critch has, so you're going to get more love from Premier League teams thinking, I'll send him along to Blackpool because Critch will bring him on, hopefully. I don't think so, Peter. I don't think he will. I don't even think Gerrard will ask him this time because even Gerrard must feel pretty bad about what happened. But Callum actually in Critch we trust. Okay, well, maybe we're going to win the league. We'll have to see, won't we? Okay, Graham Butterworth says back to the weekly Critch bingo. He had a different team every week. A safe appointment from Sadler. Well, I know, you get the feeling that Simon Sadler really loved him, and they got on well together. And probably Sam, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I'm sure it's not been quite the relationship that Simon Sadler had with Critch that he's had with Appleton or Mick McCarthy. I doubt it, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised he wasn't it always comes back to this for me. He says he's a Blackpool fan all his life, so he's just like us, isn't he? Bleeds tangerine, and he must have been at that Millwall game and seen the way the crowd were and how loud it was and how behind Dobby we were. And, when he went to Norwich, he must have seen, how the few hundred that were there, but they were behind Dobby, and everyone was cheering his name. He must have seen that. And the little bit of Blackpool fan in him must have thought, you know what, I want Dobby as well. I want him. I like this style of football, but it doesn't seem to have mattered, which I find hard to understand. Kieran Bass has got you in the Championship when you had him before, so I can see that it will help Blackpool get promoted back to the Championship again. One of the benefits he had in that season, though, when he got into the Championship, was he had no fans in the ground giving him shit and calling him names, and it's a different kettle of fish. I know he did all right in the Championship, but I remember, at the end of the Championship season where we lost to Derby and we lost to bloody Peterborough 5-0 away. I went to that across the road from the ground where everybody, settles on the grass there, and there's the bar on the bars. You probably saw that video, and loads of fans were saying the same thing, that after that 5-0 drubbing, that, we need to strengthen. We really need to strengthen because we're not going to have as good a season next season. So fans were well aware then that we need to strengthen, and we didn't, did we? We just did not strengthen at all. In fact, it was just a total cock-up, to be honest. So we can't do that again. Simon Sadler, if you're watching this, or whoever from bloody Blackpool's checking out on what I say, you've got to invest in some players. I'm telling you that now. If you don't, God help you. That's all I can say. Yes. WNG fan says, no, it's Aston Villa actually got better once Neil Critchley was fired. He went with Gerrard, though, didn't he? So they got rid of them both. So was it because they got rid of Critchley, or was it because they got rid of Gerrard? Answers on a postcard, please. Eugene McGeever says, I think Critchley will go back to QPR and get some of their players in the summer transfer window. Do you think he would? Do you think he liked them players at QPR? They did nothing for him, did they? I bet there's nobody there, but I always think that Critch will know loads of people. Oh, Callum calls it says get us in the Championship and in the Premier League. Right, okay. Greg Nicholas says it was Appleton that sent us with crap football. Let's just get behind the team, the club, and the manager. But again, I don't really think the football was that crap under Appleton. I just think we just had, like, it was ridiculous sendings off, injuries that you just couldn't believe. I don't know if it was that bad. I just think we kept ending games with 10 men, and it was just a disaster. He did start our downfall. I agree with you. Him leaving just killed the momentum, didn't it? The momentum that we were gaining, the vision, the dream. I keep saying it. We had a dream. I actually believe. I believed stupidly. I believed that we were going to get to the Premier League. I did believe it. I just believe we were going to get better and better and better. And honestly, the news that he'd left just honestly killed me. And the news of Appleton, I wasn't very happy about. I tried to be as happy as I could about it. I thought, maybe a decent manager could improve on what Critch did, because I thought a better manager could probably do a better job than Critch. That was my thought. But we're back down in League One, and, what kind of manager can you attract to a League One side as opposed to a Championship side? So probably Critchley, on paper is the best we could get, but it's just the fact that he's left us at... Yeah, it's the way he left, not why he left. Of course, it's the way he left. He left and just dropped us right in the shit, didn't he? Basically, and we've suffered for it ever since. Yeah. Bola Patino Fiorini. I think Patino Ferrini were Michael Appleton, to be honest. I think W&G there, were they? Rogers, Fiorini, Keshi. Rogers, Fiorini, Keshi, Thornley, Nelson, all big players. What good players? Tall players? Big players? What do you mean they're all gone? Well, Fiorini wasn't big. Keshi wasn't big at all. Thornley was... We're going to have to sign a bit more height in the team, I think. Greg Nicholas says it was Appleton that sent us down with his crap no-plan football. Let's get behind the team, the club and the manager. Well, yes, it was, but we wouldn't have had Appleton if Critch hadn't have left, would we? So that's why he gets the blame. Yeah, Medine, but he won't be back. Well, Harry Lisco says, I think he'll be fine. Yeah, that's great. That's Johnny. That's pretty obvious. Right, I won't read that one out. Joshua Forrest says it all went well at Villa. If it went well at Villa, it would have been a different story. Yeah, well, it would, but it didn't. It didn't go well, so it wasn't a different story. It went bad at Villa. But yeah, he wouldn't be coming back here if it had gone well at Villa. Lewis Evans says, it reminds me when Woodgate took over Middlesbrough, my team, my team, and he nearly got us relegated. Now he's back under Carrick as a number 2. Still a sour taste for us, but going to miss you Seasiders. Right, okay, yeah. Well, that's it. There will be a sour taste. No sound. What's this, Lee? I made a song for Jerry Yates. Running past the card, scoring one. Looks good, looks fine. That's kind of the song we have, isn't it? But running past the number. Right, Dan says, Coventry fan living in Blackpool. Mark Robbins walked out on us to join Huddersfield 6 years later. We had 90 minutes from the Premier League. Robbins has just signed a new 4-year contract. So there you go. It can work out. There is the exception to the rule, but most of the time it doesn't work out. And we've already had 2 previous managers back, and they've both not worked out. So it's a surprise that we went for third time lucky, but maybe it will be third time lucky. Who do we have in pre-season? We don't know yet. Tom, we've no idea. Big Macca says Dobby is the fans manager. Yeah, he is. But we've only had him for 6 games. Is that enough, really, to say he is the Messiah? 6 games. Is it enough? Has he got enough contacts in the game? I've already said it. Has he got, does he have? Will he be able to strengthen that squad and get players in like Critch? We know can. Armo says, would have loved us to stick with Dobby, but Critchley's back now, and the best thing to do is get behind him. 100% it is. Richard Fenton says, spot on, Lee. I'm not going to be singing that yet, Callum. Not yet. Floor Filler says, I wonder if the youth will still come through as planned. Well, hopefully that was the plan, wasn't it, Floor Filler? That is the plan. Maybe we've just taken a bit of a year out and we can move on with... I mean, it seemed like Critchley just wants to carry on where he kind of left off. I think that's one of the good things about it. Hopefully he can just carry on where he left off, and hopefully Simon Sadler will back him and he will get some, better, some new players in. No, Miss Relda says, I appreciate everyone has an opinion, but tough and sometimes decisive decisions have to be made at the top. Totally agree. It's not us to make a decision. It's down to Simon Sadler. But God help him if he gets this one wrong. God help him. I've got to say, I know they've got to make tough decisions, but he's really gone against what the fans wanted. And if it backfires on him, oh my God, I do worry. Let's look at the possibilities of a positive outcome by a manager proven at the level we find ourselves. Well, indeed, let's hope that's the case. Oh, Callum, I'm not going to bet you £30 over it, to be honest. I actually think we can win the league as well with Critch in. I do. I've got to believe it. I always believe it. I believe it every summer, every time in pre-season. I always believe Blackpool are going to finish champions. Maybe. Yates to Middlesbrough for 4 million now, is it? I thought it was going, yes, and at least bullshit Ben has gone. Yeah, that's great news, isn't it? That's probably the bet. That's really great news. Tower Power says we need to grow a backbone and stop going back. Never works. We're becoming a laughing stock. With who? Who are we a laughing stock with? Oh, the Nobbers, probably. I don't think anybody gives a flying frig about Blackpool, to be honest. We might care about Blackpool. The Nobbers might care about Blackpool, but trust me, nobody else gives a shit about what Blackpool does, to be honest. Gary, hello, Gary. Am I missing football? Actually, I'm enjoying the break, to be honest. So we needed a break. So no, at the moment, and I always find summer I can, entertain myself with cricket and Wimbledon and all the rest of it. So I quite enjoy the summer. I like the summer break, but soon enough the pre-season will be here. Katana Carl says, still can't believe he left to put Coles out for Gerrard. Wouldn't be having him back. Well, the reason he left was he probably got about 5 times his salary increase. So he left for that, and the fact that, he was obviously would like to work with Gerrard, but it didn't work out. Yeah, WG fans, it's kind of poetic that we actually won on the final day of the season when we got relegated, kind of like Peterborough did in the 2021-22 season. Yes, indeed. But they nearly got back, didn't they? But Darren Ferguson I don't know what he did in that game against Sheffield Wednesday. Katana Carl says, I wouldn't have Yates as a Borough fan. Okay. Peter Rumley says, not happy. It's a backward step, in my opinion. Same reason you don't text your ex. Unless she starts texting you and she was quite fit and you kind of can forgive her. And actually, the sex was quite good and, and all the rest of it. You can get back in with your ex. It all depends. But you'd never quite trust her again, would you? And that's the problem. You'd never be 100% there. And Matthew McClurlick says, not sure if you want to join, but if we lose Yates, Duck from Aberdeen would be class. Is that Duck or Duke from Aberdeen? I don't know him. Does anybody else know him? Richard Fenn says, simply had to be Dobby. Critchley, 1 win in 14, marginally better than Mikasaurus. Dobby made them look like a half-decent unit. Let's not forget Critchley, the tinkerer, never the same. Yes, he was the tinker man, but he obviously didn't have as many injuries when Critch was in charge because he wouldn't be able to tinker. I mean, Appleton couldn't tinker. He had 11, and that was about it, really. And we had that many crocs in the blooming physio room that we couldn't tinker, really. So let's hopefully that the players, whatever the training is that Critchley does from his advanced, super advanced, top of the world training thing, doesn't get as many players injured. Is it true that Ipswich is looking at Jerry Yates? Everybody's looking at Jerry Yates. I won't bother looking at him. He's absolute garbage. Just forget about Jerry Yates. We'll just keep hold of him. He's not very good. Toby Larone says, do you regret giving Mick McCarthy the benefit of the doubt? Well, we had to. We don't have any say in the manager. We've just got to hope he's going to be okay. But yes, he was crap. I know football fans support, but Stevie Wonder could see he is a spent force. But you still got to kind of believe that the people know what they're doing. Big Macca says, I think we need transfers in all areas. New striker on a permanent, another winger or two, a holding midfield, and 1 or 2 centre-backs. Couldn't agree with you. We definitely need centre-backs. Definitely need a striker or two, don't we? I mean, we do, and we do need a holding. Well, we need a big, strong midfielder, don't we, that can hold on to the ball, I agree. Gilman St. Max says, Desmond Hackett will surely turn his grave, and if you don't know who he was, you won't remember Ernie Taylor either. Keep making me smile. No, I don't remember Ernie Taylor. My dad would remember Ernie Taylor. Dan says, is there another chat for this stream? No, there's only the one chat. Is it because I've not got to you very quick? I'm just trying to get through them all. There's a lot to get through. WG fan says it would be crazy for Yates to sign on a team like Ipswich. Well, would it be crazy? Going back in the Championship. Yaris Nerison says he's back now, so let's get behind him as we know how good he could be for us. Greg Nicholas says Fiorini helped Patino and Carey in the midfield. Yeah, he did, and we did look better with Fiorini, and I couldn't understand why Mick McCarthy didn't play him. I think that was a big mistake after he played so well in the Stoke game. Richard Coburn says, I'm sure there were times when you were very frustrated with the way Critch played. There were times I was very frustrated with the way that Critch played. Absolutely. Eddie Bellingham says, Critchley was the first domino to fall for what turned out to be a disastrous season. It's a bitter pill, but we have to let bygones be bygones and move on for the sake of our furniture. I totally agree with you. We do. We have to move on. It's not going to be number 2 though, Robert. That's not going to happen. It doesn't want to be. No, he wouldn't get in your starting 11. So don't worry about Jerry Yates. That's the thing. Just forget about him. Yeah, Miss Nelson is already on Neil Critchley's Tangerine Army. He's back. No, he wouldn't, Peter. Just Yates. Just want people to just forget about Yates. We need him here. Would you say Critchley is our Nathan Jones? Well, we don't know yet. We don't know. I mean, he's not a back. Come on, he did a good job first time round. There was a lot of positives. There was some negatives, but he did bring us some fantastic wins, even in the Championship. Sheffield United away and Stoke away. God, there were some great wins, wasn't the performance at Fulham away was just unbelievable. Once after the guy, obviously, the fan had the problem. We restarted. We played amazing that game. Should have beat Fulham. There were some really, really, really good games, beating Birmingham 6-0, and it was just great. But then there was some rubbish, there was some rubbish mixed in, especially at the end of the season. We got ourselves above the knobbers, and then we blew it, didn't we? Which was really hard to take. Who would have liked first game next season? God, I don't know. I don't, honestly, I don't really know. What won it at home, really? Just a home game. Anybody a home game. Who's my pick for the Championship playoff final? Well, there's a part of me really kind of, as coming from a little club, a relatively small club, I always stick up for the underdog. So I have to kind of stick up for Luton, but I'm not bothered because we're like Middlesbrough. So if Middlesbrough, they get up or whatever, it's either way. Who is it? Yeah. Luton. Luton really is the one that we'll be sticking up for, I suppose. Oh, Paul Chris says, evening, Lee. Make sure you have a pint in the Magna Carta pub. You might just see me there. Okay, the Magna Carta. I'll let Jay know that. I think Gary Bowyer would have been a sound choice. Yeah, but again, it's another manager that's been here before, and it's a manager that's been here under the Oystons, so that wouldn't have gone down well, would it? So I don't know if he would have been or he wouldn't be. He wanted a manager that didn't divide the fans, really, and we have got a manager that's going to divide the fans. That's the problem. Big Macca says, yes, Dobby only had 6 games, but in those 6, I knew we were down, but the fight came back and the passion was showing. It certainly was. How do I feel about Stockport and then how about Carlisle? I don't really either, really, with those. Stockport was always, it was always a decent ground to go. Carlisle it always doesn't seem very far, but it's a long bloody way. But Carlisle's quite nice. We did a pre-season at Carlisle and it was really good. Why not fist pumps? Well, because we did them before, and then he's walked away on us. So it'll feel really cheesy if he starts doing them again because we're not quite as behind him as we were at that time. Paul, surely not. Smith says, in the words of Victor Meldrew, I don't believe it. Another former manager, no, not for me. I just don't believe it. Shazza Harvey has just joined, but not happy. Not happy at all. Andrew says, come on, you Pill fans, it was great when he was here last time. Let's get behind him again and bring those good times. But we have to get behind him. We have to. We simply have to. Richard Fenton says, sideways, backwards, can't wait. It wasn't always, though, was it? It wasn't always sideways, backwards, but he did do a lot of that, but not all the time. We did play some great football under Critch. Blackpool FC Fan TV says, can't lie, was disappointed finding out Critchley was the new manager, as I was hoping for a new and different manager. However, let's all get behind him and get us back to the Championship. We've got to get behind him. We have to. We simply have to. Kian Finn says, I wouldn't say you're little myself, more medium-sized, definitely a Championship-sized club. Hope you're back. Yeah, but we're always looked on as little Blackpool, and until we get our stadium finished, we are limited in size to like 14,000. So at the moment with the ground restrictions, so yeah, we need to get the stadium finished. But will they now? Now has been, I don't know. Hopefully they will. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, Coventry, of course. Yeah, Coventry. And again, with that Luton. Obviously, the underdog, Coventry, they've been through hell, haven't they? They've been through like more hell than, well, as much hell as we have. They've had to ground share. They've been down to the bottom divisions. They've been out of the ground. They even had trouble this year in the start of the season. So, there's a part of me, I don't mind either. I don't mind either. I'm really, I'm really not that bothered on either of those. It can be Coventry, it can be Luton. Mackenzie Charles says, any phone-ins over the summer to discuss the future and present and all that. With regard to the phone-ins, I don't like the way that we just get like so many knobhead calls in and pizza deliveries and all this, and it kind of just spoils the whole flow of it. So I'm thinking, or what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to phone people who are on my list. So if you want to be on, if you want me to contact you, before the Saturday game to say, are you available? I'm just going to have different fans on every week, and I'm going to call you rather than you call in. I think it'll work better that way, and it'll just get rid of all the nonsense with all the dickheads and the knobbers, and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to be in the phone in, you need to email me, lee@LeeCharles.tv. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a call and we can have a chat about it. And then I know you're genuine and I can have you on and we don't have to worry about keep clicking people off because it really is awful. It really does spoil the whole thing and it doesn't go. And it's obviously going to be that way. Knobs is just going to continue wrecking it. So I've got to do it. I'm going to change it to that way around. So now I will do it if people want to give me the numbers and get in touch with me and I know who's coming on. And I will phone out. Heinz69 says, Ernie Taylor was so good, he was allowed to drink his local pub on match day mornings before making his way to the ground. My God, he must have been good. Anthony Prince says, as a PNE fan, is he a proper PNE fan? I wish you well next season. Coming up, as love the derbies between us. All the best. That's a proper fan. They're all saying, oh, glad you went down. But I tell you, they won't have as good a game as they had last. There won't be all them blooming streamers and balloons and all the rest for any other game for the whole next season because there's only one derby and it's fantastic. And the joy that the Nobbers must have got from winning that game, the way they did, that's probably the best game of the whole season. So why would you not want that? The Preston Blackpool derby is marvellous. Why would you not want that? You're not a football fan if you don't want it for me. Tower Power says many long journeys next season. Well, let's hope if they're on Sky or something, we could do a watch along because I'm not fancying some of these long ones. Yes, I know. Kieran Cease is quite happy who wouldn't have left their job with that offer. We don't know what the offer was, but I'm pretty certain it was a lot more money than what it was on here. And he probably just thought it was a dream to go and work with Gerrard, who he's great fans with and friends with. And probably it didn't work out for him, did it? And he knows that now. Will I be watching the 3 playoff finals this weekend? Probably not, to be honest. Probably not. I'm just out. I'm just so sick of football after this season. I just need a break from it. Ian says, I'm not convinced about the appointment, but we don't have a choice. Simon Sadler hasn't got a good track record in personnel selection. Well, no, he hasn't, has he? The only one good appointment he's made is Critch, so I can understand why he wants him back. Oliver Tribe says, best option we have. He got us promoted once before. He can do it again. Of course he can. Kian Finn says, as a Borough fan, missed the away day and your fans are always very, I think that means vocal. Yeah, we are very loud. WG says, but Coventry wouldn't survive in the Premier League for a whole season. Luton's to go. What? Coventry wouldn't survive in the Premier League. Well, we didn't survive in the Premier League. Nobody survived. It's very hard to survive in the Premier League, but if you're clever about it and you come down with all the money, then you have got the money to go back in the Premier League with a better team. And then they can probably buy the stadium and everything and sort themselves out. So for Coventry, it's probably would be amazing for them to win and get that stadium back in their ownership, wouldn't it? That's the first thing I do as Coventry. Aidan Wilmot says, personally, I'm going to back him, and it was very exciting to see who will bring in with his contacts. I don't think we will sell Jerry and need some better defenders and bring Fiorini back and Rodgers. Yeah, and that would be great, wouldn't it? It also doesn't help that Coventry has 5 suspended deducted points. I know, it does feel... But then again, I don't like these bloody point deductions. They just punish the fans. So good luck to them if they get up. It's all right, the owners, but the fans will be happy, won't they? Who are your 3 most important players that you need to keep? Well, we need to keep Jerry, don't we? Really, he's important. Marvin Epiteta, if he's fit. The rest of them. They haven't been that great. Really, who's been good? Yeah, good thinking about the phone ins. Yes, definitely, but we need to do it the other way around. Robert Field says we need to get behind Critch and start being positive. What's happened in the past has happened. Let's look forward, not back. Indeed. MB says he can't see it working the second time. The respect is gone. Mackenzie Charles says he's looking forward to Bolton away next season and Bradford if they come up. Right, I think I'm up to date with all. I think that's me through all the comments. Yes, it is. That's it. That's us. Anybody else got anything to say? I think we're all. I think we're all pretty much on the same page with this. I think everybody kind of wanted Dobby, didn't we? We all wanted Dobby. We liked the way he played. You could tell at the ground that everybody wanted Dobby. I don't think anybody really wanted Critch. Not many would have wanted Critch. Whether we can be talked round into thinking Critch is going to have to prove a lot, isn't he? He's going to have to get off to a great start. Simon Sadler, if you want him to have a great start, you've got to back him this season. If you don't, we're in a mess. I think the fans have just got to get behind the team. I think it's most important as Blackpool fans that we get behind the team. It's what we're all about, isn't it? Tower Power said we should never have got rid of Ryan Hardy. No, I like Ryan Hardy. I really did, and I thought he looked, just never really got a chance, did he? But every time he come on, he looked slick, didn't he? I thought he was a really good player. He looked a good player. WG fan says I'm probably going to see more AFC File next season, not a diss on Blackpool. Okay. I won't be going to see AFC Filed. Darlett says, can you see Bowler return to the form he was in the season before last? I don't know. I mean, it's like he's been ruined, really, as a player. I don't know. It was just a big mistake. The whole thing was a mistake. What Forest did to him didn't do him any good sending him out to Greece, and he didn't come back as the player he was. He wasn't quite as fit. I didn't think he looked as fit as he was when he went out there because he hadn't played. And I think Mick McCarthy just ruined him completely with his thing about, you don't need to be really attacking, lad. We need to have you defending and all this sort of stuff. It just didn't work. Mick McCarthy was horrendous. It just was worse than you could have ever imagined. KMT PHX says, I blame Critch for relegation, but I was also relieved to see he was reappointed as he got us promoted. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Can he just come back to the club and it's as if he was never away and he just carries on in the way it was going? And the vision that we had with Critch, to give him a 4-year deal, so he's got those 4 years again to kind of put into place the things that they were looking to put into place with the development squad and the academies and just bringing kids on, and him just, let's face it, he has got the top coaching badges in the world. There's not many coaches who've got, as good a badges as him. So if anybody can coach him, he can. He did seem to bring players on. The players loved him. It's clear they did. Because as I say, somebody who was at the players' sponsors meal evening that they had, all the players said they wanted Critch back. So I'm sure that was a factor in the decision as well, because if Simon Sadler's, getting the feedback that the players, loved him and want him back, then that's a good start. If we can get that sort of togetherness again that I always think Blackpool need, the same thing we had with Holloway, just that togetherness that the team get, and they want to work for each other and, you know, and die for each other. And if we get that, then we've got a chance, haven't we? So, smash the like button if you're enjoying the stream. Yes, please do. Please do smash the like button. Appreciate that. WNG fans says, I think that we forget that Neil was manager for QPR. No, we don't forget. No, I don't think anybody's forgetting that. We know he did terrible. He won one game and it was shocking, but was that down to him or was that just down to the team didn't take to him? I don't know, because it wasn't his players. What does my wife think about Critchley? Well, you can actually listen to Jane if you can find out exactly what she thought, because she was on Radio Lancashire yesterday morning. I think, yeah, she was on yesterday morning. She was it yesterday morning or this morning? I can't remember. Anyway, she's on Radio Lancashire in a show, so you can find it. I will actually put a link to it in the comments below, and you can listen to what she said, because she was on the radio. Steve H says, relegation wasn't Critchley's fault. Multiple things conspired against us. Hopefully we have looked into the hamstring issues which plagued us. No, it wasn't Critchley's fault, but I think if it had stayed, I don't think we'd have had the problems we had. Stephen Wood said we got promotion last time with Critch. Indeed we did. Unlike the crap what Appleton did. Exactly. So hopefully... At least we know what we're getting, don't we? We know what we're getting. And he was a decent manager. You know, you can't say he wasn't a decent manager, because he was a decent manager. I loved him. Honestly, I was devastated. You know, when we heard the news in Grimsby and we're on holiday, sat outside that bar, and Jane says Critch has left, I just, you know, I don't know. I just couldn't quite get over it. I really couldn't. And but then I just... over the year, I got to kind of hate him in my mind, because I blamed him for a lot of the stuff, you know, in my mind. Tower Power says his ex was crap in bed. Well, then you definitely would not be calling her, would you? You couldn't be asked with her, could you? David Kremin, as a Luton fan, he was gutted to see Blackpool relegated, as he loves Blackpool away. Yeah, we actually enjoyed Luton away as well. We've enjoyed going to Luton. You know, good luck to you. We will be, you know, we will be cheering you on as the underdogs and the little team. And I think it'd be quite funny to see how the Premier League cope with your ground. Actually, to be honest, it will be funny. It will be funny. Yeah, we're all kind of a bit, you know, we're all a bit on your side, because we do. I mean, my dad would always stick up for underdogs and whatever it was. And I think it's the British way that we stick up for the underdog. And I actually think that Luton are a good, you know, a good side, big, strong lads. You know, we noticed. One of the things, if you haven't been to Luton, anybody that's watching this, is you're very close. Really close to the pitch, so you're almost like pitch side. And there was one of the Luton Black lads was like down in the penalty area, and they were getting a bit of treatment. Honestly, he had legs like tree trunks. It was just, honestly, I thought, God blimey, how strong does he look? And then we brought like just brought on players, and we just look like little lads. You know, Pervader in particular, when he came on, he just looked like a little lad against like big, massive men. You know, they were a big, strong side. So I think they could. I think they could do it. Yes, I was in Indulge yesterday. Yep, I wasn't doing. I'm doing a bit of food delivery to keep things going during the summer. So yes, I was there. She made a great toe in the hole. Well, that Tower Power could if her cooking was all right, you might take her back. Blackpool FC fan, 10 Pat. Well, thank you very much. Blimey, I'll just leave that up there. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. David Kremen says the only problem with Wembley is the big pitch. We don't like big pitches. Well, it's Wembley. It's different. Peter Griffiths thinks Grimmy is a big player. Yes, I mean, honestly, I didn't think I didn't think Grimmy played that well against Millwall, and we let 3 in. I didn't think he was that great against, but Norwich, he was honestly, it was the Grimmy super show. Honestly, some of the saves he made at Norwich were like top drawer. The one he just like tipped onto the post in the first half was just, what a save, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just think that the problem with the goalkeeping last year, and I know that they came under a lot of stick, Maxwell in particular, but I think it was the defence more than, I thought the defence was terrible last season. I thought we were just, there was never the same ones. I didn't, Thornley, just when he's getting going, he gets a bloody concussion, and then he gets another concussion, and, Big Marv getting his hamstring, and all whatever it is that is wrong with him. And we just didn't have a settled defence. Then we get that good in, don't we? And then he gets bloody injured. And I just don't think defensively in front of the goalkeeper we were very good. And I think that, Jordan Gabriel being injured and finally getting back and then getting bloody injured again, and I don't know. I don't blame it all on the goalkeeper. I blame it more on the defenders. So we need to sort the defence out. We didn't sort out, Richard Keogh leaving. We just didn't sort it out. We needed an experienced centre half to play with Marv, who was probably a few years younger than Keogh, but had the experience of the Championship. And I just don't think we had those big players who, we had too many. We were relying on too many kids last year. Charlie Patino and Carey didn't work, and they needed a big, strong, experienced ball-winning midfielder, and they didn't have it, and we just lost game after game with them in, and I felt sorry for them because they're 2 young kids. Blackpool FC fan that's now, blimey, wow. Well, thank you very much. That's very, very generous of you. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Can anybody beat 20? Any advance on 20? Yeah, Semi-Charm Live says Blackpool FC fan. Well in, absolutely. Tower Power says we may have a chance of promotion if we start wearing them sports bras. Yeah, maybe. Oh, wow. David Kremlin says something you wouldn't have seen. A Luton fan started a GoFundMe page for Luton's ticket office staff for all the hard work through the season, and more recently Wembley tickets and the long hours. Well, that's lovely, isn't it? And at the moment it's at 5,500 for the ticket office staff to have a good drink at Wembley. Wow, that's really good, isn't it? I'll put your £20 back on there because that's amazing. Thank you very much. I wonder if that's saying something, though. Let me just have a look. What's it saying? Because I can't see. Oh, yes, Blackpool fans, £20. Here's something for you and Jane. Get yourself a drink up the mighty pool. I can see it, but I can't get it up on the screen. So thank you very much. So, and your other one was Seasiders. So I'll read them both out for you. So I don't know if you can see those there. You'll be able to see it in the chat as well, so you don't need to see it on the screen. But thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'm not going to give her any of it. No, I'm kidding. We'll get her a drink. I'll tell you what, on a video we'll toast you to when we get a drink on an away thing. I will toast to you. Yeah, get yourself a drink. Get yourself a drink. Thank you. Enjoy. David WG fan says, didn't your manager donate money to it as well? Fantastic. Oh yeah, the manager donated £500. Wow, fantastic. So yeah, in fact, they're a club, really, Luton, with less fans than us, and, they're proof again that you can do it. They were nearly there last year, weren't they? And maybe they can just do it. Tower Pass says we need Stanley Matthews back. Well, somebody like him, yeah. But those were in the day when players like Stanley Matthews got paid the same amount of money at playing for Blackpool as they did for Manchester United. That's the problem now. You can't get Stanley Matthews because he'd be at Man City and he'd be on about $500,000 a week. That's a problem, isn't it, with it all? You can't get those players anymore. You can get them, but you couldn't keep. Even if one of our kids from the development squad came through and he was like the next Stanley Matthews, it'd be gone within a year. You couldn't hold on to him because they'd just come in with more money, and you can't keep him. It's just that's how it is, isn't it? That's how it is. So you have to build a team. You have to do what Ollie did, really, and just get a team. And, they motivated the team, with a big win, £5 million win bonus to get in the Premier League. Maybe we need some of that this time. Maybe, obviously not 5 million to get in the Championship, but, they do need big incentives to get up. Pete Laycock says, will Mr. Critchley be welcome at Bloomfield Road? Well, we don't know. We don't know, do we? That's the big thing. Will people forgive him, for leaving us like he did, and killing the dream, really, and basically setting us on the road to ruin, really. The whole thing came in the summer. The club weren't prepared for it. Obviously, Simon Sadler said they just weren't prepared for it. They got Appleton in. I don't know why they got Appleton in. I still honestly don't know why they went for Appleton. It was just the most crazy bloody move. Because it just, the problem with Appleton was that he just divided the fan base. And this is the problem with Critchley. We have the same problem. Will he divide the fan base? I think he has to get off to a flyer. We have to be up near the top of the league right at the start. We've got to be winning games. And if he's not, I can see the fans not being with him. And that will be a problem. David Kremer said, how was Charlie Patino this season? Arsenal bought him from Luton as a child for 10 grand. He, unfortunately, was in a team with too many kids around him, and he needed those experienced heads around him. He's a very good player, but he's still not, a man. He's still a young boy, and he was in a team that were playing terrible with loads of injuries, and nothing really helped him. But he played almost every game apart from when he was injured, so he featured all the time. But he'll have learned a lot from it. It'll have been a big learning curve, but I think as yet he's not ready. He's still got some growing to do and get stronger, but it'll have done him a world of good, I would think. Yeah, Tower Power says he needs to develop physically. Yes, he does indeed. Right, I think that's about it, really. I think I've said all I can say about it, really. I think that's it. I think I was disappointed at the news because I wanted Dobby. I wasn't jumping up and down with joy. I wasn't because over the year I hated him. Honestly, I was like, we call him the snake, and I hated him. And I in my head I did blame him for a lot of the problems because I just because it kind of killed the dream that I had of where we were going, and I just hated him. And I've got to forgive that. Hey, I've got to, and I'll cheer him on. I will. I'll be behind him because I want him to do well, and I want us to do well. You'll always have that fear. People have already said that he will, go at the first opportunity, but hopefully he's learned his lesson, and he doesn't. But money talks. Right, let's just... Big Sleet said, would be great to go up as champions and avoid the stress of the playoffs. Got to get behind Chris. God, I would give anything to go up as a bloody automatic. Just once. It's been a long time since Darlington. Bloody hell, it has been a long time since then. You know what I mean? Honestly, you won't have experienced it, but I was at Darlington with Sam Ellis when Blackpool got promoted that night, and honestly, it was just unbelievable that the fans stayed behind about half an hour singing Sam Ellis, Tangerine Army, and the police had to get him back out the changing rooms to come out to blooming applaud us all because we wouldn't go, and it was just awesome. And I remember the weekend in Blackpool, everybody was buzzing. It was amazing, and it's just so nice. It'd be just nice to be top of the league, wouldn't it? But we always come at the end. You know what it's like with Blackpool. We come from nowhere. Tommy97, it's Tommy Pawson here. Best news ever. Can't wait for the 3. You want the fist pumps, do you, at the end? Do you? Will we join in on that this time? Will we just boo it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure it'll work if he starts doing that, to be honest. That's what's we're top of the league, we might do. Yeah, you did beat Nottingham Forest this season. Well done. Yeah, we did, didn't we? We did beat them, and that was... In fact, we just kind of turned a corner then, didn't we? And then we got rid of Appleton. But chicken biryanis, I would imagine so. Yeah, the stand was shaking at Darlington. Best night ever. Yeah, it was. It really was, wasn't it? Paul Stewart and Eamon. And Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. I honestly, we never experienced it since, have we? Although we have experienced a lot of promotions, but it's always been the hard way, and it's always having to go to Wembley. And it is if you could guarantee it every time you get in the playoffs and get up at Wembley, it's the best. It's just the best way, isn't it? It's the glory way, but it's also the stressful way. My God, it's stressful. Even against. Last time against Appleton, and it was stressful. I was really stressing, and Lincoln were coming at the end, weren't they? Like, oh my God, that goalie coming up in this with the last 5 minutes to go, and in our half, and it was just so stressful. Jane will never ever sit at a playoff final with me ever again. She said I was that bad. I was shouting at them to keep hold of the ball, and we kept giving it away, and it's just such stressful. But obviously, when the blow the final whistle, there's nothing quite like it. You're actually in tears. It really is. But all right, you had the coach window put back through, did you, on the way home? All right. Well, we went by car. I went with Dad. Happy days, really. Right, folks, that's it. As I said, we're going to be doing the phone-ins, but it's going to be different. I'm going to phone you rather than phoning in. So if you want to be a fan on the list of fans that I can call, email me, lee@leecharles.tv. Give me your number. I'll put you in my phone and we'll have a chat. And so I know you're genuine. And then I'll draw them out of a hat or whatever, who I'm going to ring. And then I will check with you to make sure that you go into the game and all the rest of it. And then I'll phone you. And I think it'll work a little bit better that way. I'll just have a bank of fans that I can call. So if I've got 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever fans, I can ring you soon, whichever way. But I'm not having all these idiots keep ringing in, because it just spoils that. It spoils the whole point of it. Which is why I've not done a phone-in tonight, to be honest, because I can't be doing with dickhead knobbers coming in and just annoying me. And Blue Terrier says, this appointment is a massive risk. Would love to see what the players are thinking of this. Well, I know a couple of people who are sponsors of the club, and they were at the sponsors' evening with the players, and they all spoke to the players, and all the players wanted Critch. That's 100%. That's gospel truth. So the players wanted Critch back. So that, if you want to know what they think of it, then that's what they think of it. They wanted him back. So there you go. The players wanted Critch. So that answers that question. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? But we don't know how it's going to go. Thanks a lot for watching, as you always do. We will be back. We'll be back pre-season. I may do some stuff like this through the summer, when other things are announced. We can have some live stuff like this. If you want to do a phone-in sort of thing, then definitely email me and give me your phone number, and, we can have a few guests on and stuff. I can't figure out, I would have you in as video guests, but I can't, because on this machine, it just doesn't seem to want to work with the Rodecaster Pro for some reason. I can't get the audio. I can get the video, but I can't get the audio to come back through the stream in the right way. So it's just not possible at the moment. So, sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Indeed it is, Semi-Channel Life. So hopefully, fingers crossed, and good luck to Everton as well. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to go get some tea. I'm feeling hungry. I'm coming round to the idea. I think that's the end. And I'm going to get behind him. I've got to get behind him. I've got to wish him success. I've got to hope that we have all the fantastic glory that we had the first time round, and he gets us back in the Championship. If he does that, it was a great move, Simon. If it all falls flat on your face and it doesn't work, then you should have listened to the fans and got Dobby in, who we all wanted. Everybody wanted Dobby. Everybody you spoke to wanted Dobby. I would say 90% of the fans wanted Dobby. So you've ignored him. So it's on your head, Simon. It is on your head. So you better get it right. You better back him. That's all I can say. You better give him the backing he needs to get us back in the Championship. I know you're the custodian of the club and you say you're looking after him, but you ain't looking after us if you're getting us relegated. That is not what looking after us is. It's looking after us is, I think every fan will be happy with Championship and the odd flirt with the Premier League, but everybody's happy in the Championship. Nobody is happy being in League One. I'm not happy being in League One. I've been in League One like for most of my football watching life. League One, League Two, you know, that's been it all the way through with my dad, always dreaming, never happening. Took us so long to get back into the Championship, you know. Even, you know, 96 where we failed against Bradford, and, you know, the disaster there with the printing in the programmes and all the rest of it, and, you know, Eric Nixon, or, you know, with his, I don't know, the goalkeeper, let 3 goals in. Still took us 10 years. It took us 10 years from 1996 to 2006, and 10 years is a bloody long time. And I tell you, we cannot be down in this League One, League Two for another 10 years. You've got to get us back as fast as you can. You have to. You really have to. And I think if you don't, it's just going to get toxic. I really do. I do, unfortunately. I think it will get toxic. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. I don't want it to get toxic. Let's have a look what we've got here. Right. If I got... Right, so I'm going to get off. Thank you very much. I will see you all. I'll see you all when I see you all. We'll see you whenever. As I say, don't forget, if you want to be on the phone in, just email me, lee@leecharles.tv. Right, I'm off. I will see you. Yeah, that's it.
What's left of last night behind, and I need to get some peace of mind. And when I need some peace of mind, I know where to find it there, by the end of the road. So I walk and I keep on walking. I wear are a mess. As I walk, and I keep on walking till I'm at the end of the road. I walk until my feet are hurting, and I need to keep on going further, 'cause I can't keep my mind off things I'd be better off to leave behind. Gotta be careful not to get stuck, and so I walk and I keep on walking. I wear